So, hey everyone, welcome back to the YMyHealth podcast. It's your co host, Melissa Schenkman here. And we are so privileged to have one of our esteemed YMyHealth contributors back with us to catch up. It is I call you Sam for short, Sam, yeah, Samantha Gonzalez Russell, who is now an entrepreneur, a three-time cervical cancer survivor, and women's health advocate. And women's health is so important to our community. So we are so excited to catch up with you talking about that and all the exciting things you have going on. So welcome, Sam.
Thank you so much, Melissa. It's so great to connect with you. It's so great to be here. And as you said, to talk all things women's health. It is a huge priority for me, and I know for Why My Health. So thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, our pleasure. Very excited to have you here. And really, Julie and I have been talking about this since the start of the podcast. We're like, we want Sam to come on the podcast.
Oh, well,
Certainly
I'm
want-
I'm happy to be here. It's always a pleasure to talk with you both. It's so cool to see Why My Health's growth too, because I think that was like in early days, and
Yeah.
to see the impact that you're having in our health space and our communities is really wonderful too.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that very much. Well, for you, one of the things you and I have kind of talked about a little, and I think we hear about often from people in both of our parts of the country, honestly, and throughout, is there's not enough talk, first of all, in the women's health space in general, but also not enough talk about cancer survivorship, the actual survivorship journey, part of
Hmm.
the journey. And with more and more people we talk with, that seems to be something that is so important. So we're really happy to talk with you about that. You're quite in now in your survivorship journey. But what are some of the ups and downs that you have experienced during your cancer survivorship journey, especially over the past year or so? And how have you navigated those experiences? Because I know you are a very busy lady, um, outside of of the health, and making health a priority, which we all it's a challenge for all of us. But yeah.
Yeah. Since we've spoken, I have celebrated 5 years in remission, which
No.
is a huge, huge milestone, of course, for any cancer survivor. But for someone like me who has gone through like a wide range of treatment and spent so many years in it, wow, it's been surreal to be able to celebrate that, to be able to reflect on as you said, this like up and down journey. Um,
Congratulations. So thrilled for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Some of the downs that I think any cancer survivor, any person who experiences chronic illness is just that, I guess, navigating um, your expectations to what life looks like now, just adjusting to a new normal, um, and constantly having to shift that and allow your space the grace to have that experience. I think a lot of the time, I guess for me personally, focusing on getting on the other side of treatment. I was envisioning like this big full life, and it absolutely is, don't get me wrong, but it absolutely takes a practical adjustment, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, all of it. And so I do find myself always learning, always readjusting, always offering myself some extra compassion to get through those moments.
So that's really helpful to hear. I think for so many people is you know, teaching them about thinking about that compassion piece and being open to learning, but that you can still
Absolutely.
have a full and you do a very busy full life. There's still so many things that you were doing pre-cancer that you're able to still do, everyone, but it's just like you said, different and different adjustments
Yeah.
far as that goes. And, you know, are there any experiences I'm very curious, now that you've had, which is amazing, 5, years, reach that mark, which is always a very big mark,
Mhm.
milestone to reach. Are there any experiences that have surprised you in your survivorship, uh, journey, and kind of what have you taken away from those experiences, and how have you grown from them?
Yes, that is such a insightful question. It kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. I think the top thing that surprised me is just how hard survivorship can be. Now, and when I say that, I don't mean like I'm not grateful to experience it, because I know that I'm lucky to end up in the situation that I'm in. But just going back to navigating those emotional struggles, processing the medical trauma, um, just reliving, finding new ways to do everyday things, is a surprising struggle. And again, I do my best. I'm not always great at it, but I do my best to allow myself to have that process, to have that experience, and maybe be bad at it sometimes. And then on the opposite end of that, I'm very surprised at what I've been able to turn my experience into. I wouldn't have imagined that I would be able to sit and talk to a health podcast, and people would want to hear about my experience. Maybe that's something that also relates to women patients as well. I have experienced and unfortunately meet so many women patients who struggle to feel heard, struggle to feel validated in their patient experience, and to think that that's something that you can go through in the thick of treatment, in the thick of diagnoses, but then to come out on this other end and use that for purpose, for education, and for other people to not feel alone has been pretty mind blowing.
Oh, I bet, and to your point, it is a very specific problem in women's health.
It is.
Um, I think part of that, which we continue to see is, even on the expert side of things, on the healthcare provider side, sometimes there aren't a lot of people who wanna speak publicly about
Hmm.
we found that a lot, about different women's health issues that people are asking about, including gynecologic cancer. And so it's very hard when women are seeking out not only the basic information and preventative care, but also looking for somebody who has been through this experience to help them navigate it is very challenging. So every time you share your story and share your recommendations on everything from like, this is what you should do preventatively, or this is how you should approach, your healthcare, like that is so valuable because honestly, it's so hard to find it someplace else, which is
It is.
mind boggling in itself, right?
Yes. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
It feels so validating. And then, yeah, it's a good reminder for me, because there absolutely is, understandably so, a vulnerability component to talking about gynecologic health, talking about women's health, and feeling like you can speak freely or ask questions. So it is a reminder for me that even if I'm feeling that hesitation, that it's important to have these conversations. Conversations like these, they allow women to have that freedom, have that space to talk about their bodies and their health, and to put ourselves first, because that's something that we
Yes.
don't do enough of.
Yes, that is definitely a women specific
Yes.
problem, 100%. And for so many cancer survivors, but especially young cancer survivors like yourself who
Hmm.
are under the age of 50, advocacy work becomes such a huge part, from everyone we've talked to, a huge part of healing and of life and survivorship. And there's such a need, as we're saying, to educate and bring that awareness. And I know you've continued to make advocacy and education such a huge part, of your life. And so, you know, to that point, I'm just kind of wondering because I see you have a very active Instagram presence. You have a very active LinkedIn presence. I'm sure there are other social media platforms that I'm not fully keeping up. There's so much to keep up with, but I know those 2 in particular, and you have some pretty exciting advocacy work, that you've been getting involved in, things that you've been creating, and the first one I'm thinking of is your new venture, Evergrow Healing, company, and so I was curious to start kind of there, and I know you've done advocacy work for quite a while too, if you can speak to that as
Yes.
well, that kinda what led up to Evergrow? I'm super excited.
Yes, thank you so much. Evergrow is my passion project. It has been for years, and it really was born out of my own experiences. Like so much of our advocacy work, is. I think as well, I know as a patient, we have a front row seat to what it is to navigate the healthcare system as a woman in America. What can help our patient community, and our experiences really in that sense are able to provide change, needed change
Yes.
for how this experience will be for patients after us.
Yeah.
There is so much to say. There is navigating insurance is not easy.
Yes.
Uh, Treatment and how best to go about that for individuals is not easy. And then having support in our communities and finding it and what that looks like for each person. There is so much to be able to figure out. So if I am able to take what I have learned from my experience and share that with folks and hopefully benefit them in theirs, that's all I've wanted. And so
Absolutely.
that's where Evergrow Healing Co. comes in. It is a social club, if you will, where folks who want to address whole person health, that is the emotional, mental and physical part of our living, and be able to have the community and tools to recover in a way that is beneficial for them. That's what we're all about, and most of all, our goal for the next year will be to have more in-person events and gatherings, opportunities for people to connect with experts, health experts, and we can kind of bridge the gap here and really get on the same page so that everyone feels empowered to live a healthy and full life. So I'm really excited about that. I have wanted to do this. As you know, as an entrepreneur, we have so many ideas and there's so
Yes.
many steps. So
Yes,
to
there
be able
are.
to bring it to life, I didn't think I would get here.
I
And I'm glad that I am.
I am so impressed with what you're doing. I am not surprised at all that you have gotten here. I think all of your personal experiences, as you were mentioning, have led to this moment, but also you have such an ability in terms of content creation, and you've interacted with communities online, and you've really been able to spend time and see what those needs are. Because
Yes.
what's so interesting, and one of the things we always find is there's such doesn't matter where you live in the country, if you are a woman and if you are under 50, you have a lot of things in common when it comes to health and the challenges you
Yes.
face in the healthcare system. And so I think you've really, honed in on that and people are looking for that help. So I think it's absolutely wonderful. I'm extremely excited to see it grow. And I know you're holding your first in-person event is coming up. I've seen the advertisement. It's a community event coming up in September called The Art of Her Health. Very catchy, by the way.
Thank you. Thank
I
you. Thank
love that. You're so welcome. So tell us kind of the community, like, what your vision is for this event, because I know there's gonna be a lot going on, at the event.
Yes, yes. So, this is where my personal experience comes to play. Throughout my recovery, I have learned that amongst the many things that sometimes we can overlook in our regular lives, creativity is a huge component to our healing. And why aren't we doing more of it, really? Just in general. It is something that allows us to live more healthy, more full lives. So, my vision is to create this day, this afternoon, where we can spend our time doing that, feeding our curiosity for health and health education, and feeding ourselves in that way, giving back to ourselves, dedicating some time so women in the Las Vegas community can connect. We can empower ourselves to make good health decisions, answer questions we may have, and then have that fun, creative outlet where we can connect and socialize and then create something beautiful. So I'm really, really excited about that. It's going to be the first of many. And what better way to celebrate women's health, gynecologic health,
Yeah.
uh, than getting together?
Absolutely. I mean, perfect timing because September is Gynecologic Cancer Awareness Month. Such a perfect time, and to bring in that, as you said, that creativity, because I believe it's there's going to be art, creating art involved, which is
Yes,
always a lot of
yes.
fun. To mix the two, because and so much of I think emotionally and learning and really getting to is when you're building something together.
Yes. Yes, that's so true. It's so nice to sort of pour that energy of what we've gone through or what we're carrying and have that therapeutic process. Thank you for bringing that up. There
Yeah.
will be a guided art therapy session. And as you said, creating is truly a powerful exercise, a practice that I think each and every one of us can benefit from in our own way. And I would challenge folks to reflect on that. I know I was someone who thought that maybe I wasn't as creative, but I think there absolutely is an outlet for everyone, anyone and everyone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, and you're welcome. I just thought that was such a unique way of bringing all these different pieces together in one event. And so I really love that. And also I know you're involved in so many different and have been different advocacy activities in addition to the community event. Are there other things that you kind of have on the horizon that you're involved in?
Absolutely. We've talked my husband is he has launched his own ice cream business. Same, it has been his passion project for years. He's been a hardcore ice cream lover since a kid. And so our vision is to merge these two ideas together.
Oh,
What can be better than our community getting together, learning more about themselves and each other so that we can all live healthier lives and enjoy a little ice cream too. It's all about balance, right? So we are looking to host more social gatherings and are really, really excited about this new chapter in our lives.
that's very exciting. I'm excited for both of you as well, and
Mm.
I love the pairing of the 2 for sure, and in terms of, far as future planning, I know that you're just getting started with so much, and there's so much to do. Obviously, as an entrepreneur, I can totally relate to that, but far as future plans with Evergrow Healing, when you're thinking about, because I know you've done other, like, advocacy work where you were, like, with like going to the state house and getting a proclamation
Yes.
every year for the awareness month and different things. So, have you thought about also maybe pairing it with some other related, but outside? Yeah,
Yes.
I was just curious. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the sky is the limit. I'm always looking to lend my voice to um, benefit future healthcare, and that will go hand in hand with Evergrow as well. I know that down the line, I hope that there are opportunities for us to gather as a community and do the same thing, lend our voices to shape the future of healthcare to benefit patients across the board. And I think that in our core mission in educating folks and allowing them to feel more empowered in their healthcare decisions and their life and feeling a bit more grounded,
Yeah.
that we're able to do that in their own individual way as a whole. I know that the the possibilities are truly endless.
Absolutely, absolutely, and if people, obviously we try it's so hard, we try and do as much as we can locally,
Yes.
in person and different in-person things, but there are also people we realize in other parts of the country who would be interested, and they may not be able to be, local, but also if people wanted to connect, is that also something that you're looking at the possibility?
Yes, yes, absolutely. My hope is to host virtual events as well. We're looking to have workshops. Going back to that bridging the gap component, so much in my advocacy work and even in my own patient experience is that sometimes clinicians can be speaking one language, patients are speaking another. And it would benefit every single one of us if we could all get on the same page. And so, with even virtual workshops where we have insights from health experts, whether it be a gynecologic professional, a mental health professional, or even integrative health, um, if someone is interested to better themselves and better their lifestyle, I am happy to connect with them. They can find us on Evergrow Healing Co. Actually, it's Evergrow HCO on Instagram and across social media platforms. And we're just really looking forward to growing that and helping folks um, do the same in their lives.
I think that's absolutely wonderful, and people are going to be very excited to hear this because they're looking for ways to do that, and so you're making that possible. So very excited about that. And as we kind of wrap up today's episode, what message would you like to leave listeners with about gynecologic cancer awareness and about young cancer survivorship as well?
In both ways. I think it's incredibly important to talk about it. I know that it can feel really uncomfortable, but that is how we are able to get a handle on these diseases. Um, when we're able to have these conversations and go to our appointments and ask questions of our doctors, we are able to really equip ourselves with the needed tools, the needed knowledge to go about this experience in the best way possible. And then, as we said earlier, kind of give each other the freedom to do that for themselves as well. Cervical cancer, in particularly, is one of the few cancers that is preventable with vaccination. But unfortunately, not as many people know about that because we're not talking about it. And understandable, it is stigmatized, but that just goes back to the point. Let's talk about it. We deserve it. We deserve to put our health first. We deserve to put ourselves first, and to have the freedom to exist and discuss our bodies, discuss our health. These are all parts that we have, and these are all uh normal health things. Let's continue to normalize these conversations.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That the vaccines and, going in for PAP,
Yes,
smears, these are things that are available to us that have proven to
absolutely.
work, and people, yeah, and we need to your point, normalize talking about and saying, "Hey, I'm going in. I made time for this appointment." To go in and, take time because we know that's one of the barriers, to many millennials is finding and making that time. You've gotta make that time.
Hmm.
You've gotta make
Yes.
that hour and a half out of work so
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's it's across the board with gynecologic care, with mental health care. I know
yes.
it is changing as uh, millennials, in particular, Gen Z, have some more freedom and a want to sort of rip the band-aid off and talk about these things. But yes, 100% agree with you. Make that time, make it a point to bring it up. And yes, that is the bottom line, is to put ourselves first, put our health first, and allow ourselves to do that in all ways.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And any final message on young cancer survivorship in particular?
It's a message that we talked about earlier, and a message that I am constantly reminding myself of is to give yourself the space, give yourself the compassion um, to experience this process fully, because it's not easy. And just because we're younger, it doesn't mean that it's any easier. In fact, there are certain parts of life that make it a little bit more difficult to go through this
Yeah,
in a younger chapter of your life. So, the advice that I give to myself is to stop being so hard on myself, be kinder to myself, and have some patience and grace, because going through cancer for anybody is difficult. And I think we're all better off if we can give those things to ourselves.
Beautifully said. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. You're so welcome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.